That is true. You are German, though. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Unsigned Berlin, Season 2. Today, we have Felix and Wenzel from Mink. And yeah, we're super excited to have you guys for your new single coming out. So should we just get
started with the snippet of that?
Yes,
and then
the snippet.
The bad ones and the horrid, floating lilies round her forehead. And she said, nothing hurts more than nothing hurting anymore. Nothing hurts me anymore.
So that was Nothing Hurts More, the new single, which will be out next week. Mm-hmm. But you can still find stuff you already have out on DSPs and everything that will be available in the description, and go follow the Instagram and everything. But yeah, we were talking about this a little bit before we started, that you guys have been going for 3 years, kind of not leading up to this specifically, but on the journey. And you formed just before COVID. So what was the process like from starting to try to get stuff together when it was COVID versus now where you have access to venues where you can perform live, you can have the whole band experience?
I mean, obviously it's improved because the venues are open now, whereas they just weren't before. So that's a plus. But obviously, I feel still that there's so much still, like, not blocking, but kind of blocking from like the big artists and like artists that were just like, that had stuff scheduled, like that are with labels and that, so they're not taking up the space, but it's still quite hard to get into that.
Yeah, it's like a wave having been pushed and now still at the pressure point of like lots of releases and everything.
So I feel like it's cool to get more opportunities now than, like, we didn't stop during COVID, but it's better now to be able to actually play for people and also to go to shows. I love going to shows and I really miss that during that time.
And your sounds also developed a lot from the live video you did it was like 3 years and a week ago, I think. I noticed the date today.
Which one's that?
It was called Our House or something like that.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was fun though. That was our first gig in New York, essentially, like from Berlin. But it was a project based in New York, and it was like a friend of a friend or something. They were like, yeah, they're doing this thing for like the people, like everyone's at home. Like that was the time where like everyone was at home, like nobody was allowed anywhere, and like all over the world. So we were like, okay, that's so cool. So we, we just went to the living room and wore these kimonos and played our songs. But we were missing our other two people in the band. So it was like, we tried to make it work with like beat machines and backing tracks. And that's why like the sound definitely varied a bit. But,
Do you look back on that time in any way and like what you did more than you're doing now? Because for me personally on projects, sometimes I look back a couple of years and I'm like, it sounds worse, but it's kind of cool.
The soul was there.
The soul's gone now.
The soul's gone now. We've beaten it out with all the technical stuff.
But it sounds very different.
It does.
But no, sometimes I listen to old stuff and I'm like, oh, it wasn't too bad, because I think you're always improving, right? So you kind of disregard everything in the past. It's like, it's so much better now. Maybe.
I also feel with like a couple of songs that have been out quite some years. We, in a way, like we recorded them and produced them. That was in a very short time span. And after we brought them out, we played them a lot more with the band, and they evolved even further. So from time to time, I think about like not really re-recording them and publishing them again, but.
Yeah, it's funny to see like sometimes where a song came from, because like in our minds now it's just so different to what we recorded when we wrote it and then a month later we re-recorded it in the studio, and that's kind of it. There's a few songs that I don't like the recording of too much, but then playing them is still a lot of fun because they just grew into something else. So
Nice.
but it's still nice to see where it came from.
That's true. Is that the common time frame with your songs where you write it, a month goes by and then you record, or do you find yourself pulling from old ideas, or is it generally pretty songwriting, little bit of time, record?
I think it's been different every time, kind of. Like there were some
On the first 2 EPs we recorded.
True.
That was in lockdown. We went to in northern Germany, went to where Felix grew up, and built our little recording studio. It's a bit in the countryside, and we recorded and wrote and actually edited and produced more or less everything in like a whole EP in a week, so in a very short time.
Yeah.
And that was like musically it was super interesting because it's like really like
Condensed.
It's quite
condensed and
intense as well.
intense.
Yeah. Intense.
And in a way we got a little bit away from that, probably because we are able to go into a real studio now and have the luxury of getting a little bit more input and doing all that. But this is where we kind of started out, like the first 2 EPs more or less came together like that. And
but then also we did all record it in a week, but then we took it back to Berlin and worked on it for like a year, I think.
True.
Or half a year, like after that. But that initial like
the ideas and like the
and
more or
most
less
of the tracks.
Most of the tracks came from this 1 week or this two 1 weeks we had.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And as for input, does that mean, where do these lines come from? Is it all of you kind of collectively pitching in? Is it mostly you, Felix, if you're writing
Are you talking
on guitar?
lyrically?
Yeah,
or?
and also melodically, if you're coming up with guitar first versus the band.
No, that's very different, I have to say. Like lyrically, it's like I do write most of the lyrics, but it's sometimes I come in with a song, sometimes Wenzel comes in with music, then I might just come in with like a line that I find cool, and then Wenzel has the perfect music for it, or vice versa, or like a bassist once had a cool bass line and we're like, let's do something out of that. It's like, so that's always...
So pretty even, pretty equal, not just one person coming in and being here's the song, let's play.
No. But there are songs like that, which is also cool. And but they always get better. I feel like a few times I brought a song and it's like, that's it. It's perfect. I like it. And then we make it a lot better together.
Just bounce it around the room. See it.
And like likelihood is you're not going to write a better bass line than your bassist or better drumming. Bad example maybe.
That was I don't know about that.
Maybe drums, better drumming.
You have to tell the drummer and then speak the language, That'll really make the drummer happy. Drummers love that when you tell them what to do.
Boom boom.
Yeah, just like that. Just like that. Air drums.
Yeah.
Could you try different cymbals?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you guys recording? You mentioned you're in a studio now that you're recording stuff in.
We like most of the new singles now we recorded either at Holzmarkt Studios or at a friend's studio in Mitte.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which studio is that? Who owns?
In Mitte?
Yes.
His name is Paul Eisen.
Okay.
He does fantastic indie music himself.
Shout out.
Everybody should check out Paul Eisen.
Nice.
No, definitely. It's really, really good. It's German, but it's
cool.
I think also worth listening to if you don't understand the language.
Just thinking of that, you write in English. Was that a really conscious decision, or was it just what feels more natural to you?
I started writing when I was living in the UK, like when I was 17, 18. I lived in Birmingham for a brief while, and I feel like lots of my singer-songwriter stuff that I did, or that started to develop around that time, just started out in English because I was living there and I was like playing in pubs with my friends and all that. And so that obviously came natural to me then, and it still is very natural to me. Like Berlin is a very international city, and I feel like half of our friends are English. So and
I mean,
people that listen to our music also
people listening to this speak English.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
So it's I stuck to it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's say I've not considered writing in German for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of people feel like writing in another language gives them a bit of space between them and the lyrics, and a bit more freedom to, try stuff out maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I always wonder if it's like, because sometimes it might seem like, because you don't understand it so well, you don't understand. And there's some truth to it that, like maybe if it's your mother tongue, lyrics will like
hit
different, but like I don't like things like I listen to exclusively English music, and well, not exclusively, but like mainly like 90% English music, and it makes me cry, and so I feel like
so it's enough.
It's enough.
That's
cool. It's like the emotions there.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, what was the music you were consuming the most, and do you feel like that
Gotta be David Bowie. That was
that's
immediately
what I was
listening to your stuff. I was like David Bowie and then Parcells.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, like I know that my mom was a big David Bowie fan, but I don't think
it's always the parents
she listened to it a lot when like I don't think she listened to it when I was like young and jumping around. So for me, it was mainly like punk rock and
okay.
And do you know Scooter?
I don't.
Also, shout out to Scooter.
Shout out to H.B. Baxter. You'll look it up after and then you'll laugh.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And you, Wenzel, what were you listening to?
Well, when I was a child, I was more into classical music.
That makes sense.
And film music. My mother used to listen to a lot of Ennio Morricone.
Oh, yeah.
And I started playing classical piano when I was quite young. And somehow that then was a little bit weird. Then the first CD I bought was Tupac. I don't know how that happened. I love it, but this was maybe a little bit of trying to figure out what I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I went over electronic music in my like teenage years. A lot of Berlin techno-ish stuff.
Okay.
And then starting to listen more in pop and indie stuff, and a lot of influence from Felix. When we started to do music together, we shared our different our stuff we listened to, and I got inspired by a lot of stuff he showed me.
Likewise.
Yeah. And are you doing the sound design as well? Because that's the impression I got from some online stuff.
Yeah, we both. It's. I feel like in the most things we are working quite equally on, at least decision making. Maybe I'm like a little bit more the nerd, the technical nerd, but from time to time, Face comes up with crazy ideas that I would have never thought of, and they're amazing. So it's not like I'm like the technical guy who does everything. It's pretty equal.
Yeah, I guess you also have that freedom of not knowing 100% how to use the equipment. Because if you're like really into it, sometimes there's a bit of a box that you build around yourself.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we do know what we're working with, but it's nice to surprise yourself.
There's
always like a knob that you turn, and it's like just crazy, and then you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Even with stuff you think there's like this one thing where you mess up or do something you don't want to do,
and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's always that weird stuff that like makes it, I feel, that ultimately excites you. Then again,
I feel like that's been the history of, especially EDM, but just generally like music tech. It was people using stuff wrong by accident, where they were like knowing what they were doing and then just doing something weird, and they were like, that shouldn't be happening. Cool, let's go with it.
Yeah, I heard in one of your songs it had like some drums, but it seemed like it was from like a MIDI, from a keyboard, like it was recorded from one of the presets. Is that true? You guys had like this kind of analog sounding, cool, like
Do
lo-fi.
you remember the song?
They were going to be
There's
Grand Hotel or Honey. You just listened to just now. That was
The
it.
second one.
Honey.
I don't remember which was which, but
Yeah, it
The
wasn't Grand
intro, it
Hotel.
starts
Yeah,
like
yeah. That's
that
what it was. What was that?
Something.
Like I found that kind of the unique kind of dividing thing with you guys. I was like, oh yeah, that's sick.
I honestly don't really remember where
That was the tweaking the one knob. You're like, whoa.
No, I think we just wanted to have like for some time also live to start something out quiet and then like it goes big. So I think we tried to do that with that filtered drum sound.
Okay.
It might have been
Right.
just real drums filtered.
Really? Because it sounded so like on. I was like, damn, that sounds like.
But it could have been also
cool.
sample just like a.
Probably a little bit of both.
Still cool. I was just wondering. I was just curious. 'Cause I
Yeah.
was like, that's a cool
And then
sound.
the Tal Juno plug-in
On the drums.
on the the chorus. Yeah, maybe.
Oh no way!
Maybe even that. Yeah.
Something weird.
Very cool.
how much of the production are you guys doing when you put a song together versus going to a studio and getting a producer there?
Oh, we don't get a producer. We
Cool.
just produce it ourselves. Obviously, like friends will have opinions and
Yeah.
ideas. So also like our friend Paul would take in some of the.
He introduced us to the Glockenspiel.
Yeah, he was like, "Are you an indie band or not?" We're like,
Rite of passage.
He showed it to us, and then like the third time we came in, he's like, "Guys, you're just coming here to play Glockenspiel. What the fuck is that?" So,
but
yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's like, especially if you don't hear that it's a glockenspiel anymore. It's just like
Yeah.
very reverby. I like that.
When you guys work in these different spaces, and maybe if it's a studio of a friend and that friend is in the session producing, do you feel like it has any effect on the final sound? Like for each tune, if you're producing it with a different person in that moment, does it influence, depending on the studio? Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
But do you feel it happening in the process, or is it more like you hear it and you're like, oh,
Well, I feel there's this. I think in a way, when we work together, we already know each other, and we know what we like, and we also like mostly know what we like and what the other person maybe dislikes more than ourselves do. So it's always super refreshing having a third or even fourth person in the room who's like not so close to or not so used to working together in a good way. So there would be like something I wouldn't even consider proposing to do because I would assume Felix wouldn't like it.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
also I think in a bit if I would have made not judging you because it would be the same way.
Oh, it all comes out here, folks. It's all going down.
And I think
Band drama.
No, I think
No, I was
it's quite normal when you work together for a very
Yeah.
long time. It becomes like this. That if I would have made the same
Suggestion. I would say like, nah.
yeah, probably
Maybe.
and the other way around,
Yeah.
definitely. In some situations.
Oh, that's cool, because maybe you would have second guessed yourself even too if you would have made that.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
like you're like all thinking as a collective, and that's really cool. Yeah.
And also, I
Fair
think
enough.
we are always like we are lucky enough to work with people we really like and where there's quite a good connection. So it never feels like you. It's quite borderless the way you work together.
Nice.
How did you guys know each other before you had the band going?
We met in Vienna. I was studying with Benzel's ex-partner in Vienna, and we met through her. And then I moved to Berlin, and then we started working in the same bar.
Oh.
And
We go back.
worked the nights and played the music in the day, kind of.
And the
For a
other
long
band
time.
members, you looked specifically for band members, or were they friends where you're like, oh, you play bass, you play bass?
We started out with a different bassist and a different drummer, and then now our bassist is the brother of our old drummer, and our drummer I met it he was working a bar in an arts exhibition that my friends did. So and we were looking for a new one because our old drummer had his own project and it kind of blew up, so he needed to focus on that, which is super cool. We're super happy. So it wasn't like there's no bad blood at all.
No,
It was just like time.
Brother of another
issues.
drummer.
Yeah.
Visually, you guys have obviously changed a lot from where it starts as it happens, but was there a moment where you were like, okay, we need to figure out what we're going to do visually, or did it develop into what it is with the kind of like, I think of whites, browns, greens everywhere?
White, brown screens.
Yeah.
I think that developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started out not really knowing what to. I mean, just wearing what we were wearing, and then for gigs we would occasionally throw on a kimono or something to have like, cause we couldn't afford like a big colorful stage, so we thought maybe let's wear a kimono. I think it was our bassist's idea, Martin. He was like, yeah, I would wear a kimono, and then I found these 2 gorgeous kimonos in Amsterdam and brought them back. Wow. And he was constantly wearing it, facing away. There's no visual concept anywhere on the folder or something like that. It's just what we do.
Just naturally good.
Yeah. But also good.
That's subjective.
Exactly. But it's good to be guided by the music rather than to have like an amazing visual presence and then have nothing to show up with, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's better to
have a
do
balance,
it that way, or at least have a balance if you're gonna. Yeah, totally. So would you play at the bar that you met at?
That was our first. That was our first,
your first
ever gig. It was a music venue, and it was closing down for the first time. I think it reopened after, but we were like,
you guys brought the energy.
We were like, we had nothing to do with the shutdown. But we were like, man, because we always said like, one day we'll play here, and then they were like, well, we're shutting down. I was like, shit, now we have to play for us. So we played the closing party. So I think we even put it in a bio, like the last day of it was called Auster Club, just in Kreuzberg, was the first day of Mink, which was a fun gig.
It was a rough gig.
It was a very rough gig. We had so much gear, like because we came from like just producing everything in Wenzel's home studio, so we brought down a massive like electric piano.
That's
and
crazy.
Did we have a Rhodes also?
We had a Rhodes for some reason.
A Rhodes for like one song, and then this like piano and a massive bass amp. Like it was just like, and like no, there was a lift, but yeah, we did use the lift. But it was just like, and then for like 5 songs that we wrote in the week prior,
with 5 different keyboards.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Have you heard of presets? Yeah.
How was the energy for that? Was it like people were psyched for a night everyone went out, or was it like it's gonna be?
No, we were psyched. We went and bought. We bought like these like silk jackets. Because there was a little bit of a concept that night. I found it like 2 days ago in my wardrobe. Never wore it again. But it was like these like silky.
Should have worn them today.
Should have, yeah. It's the weather for it, for sure.
It is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. That's true. That is very true. Since you guys started off kind of without a rhythm section, did you? That first gig was just you two?
No,
that was the whole band.
Us,
it was 5.
Yeah, there was another guitarist.
Who was?
too.
Oh, there was another guitarist.
Yeah, but he went to Central Hanover and then Central America.
What?
Like he went away for like 2 months. So we were like, I don't think this is gonna work. But a good friend of ours, and then he moved to Hanover, and it was like, it was like a very like for the first month or maybe a little bit longer actually.
Okay.
Not sure, but no, it was like drums, bass, 2 guitars,
and every piece of keyboard.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just interested in like how the energy would change without that rhythm section. Like if maybe you write songs slower than you would without one.
Well, and we did a support tour last year for another great German artist, Tristan Baruch. Also, shout out to Tristan. Check him out as well. And because he only plays with the guitar and keys and sings alone. And we thought we had our like duo setup with electronic backing tracks and everything, but we thought that wouldn't really match. Especially people come to shows and it's really. How do you standing like?
I mean, he's standing on stage like 90 minutes, just guitar and keys.
Intense.
It's really good.
And so we thought we can't come up there and do like with electronic backing tracks. It's not gonna match. So we came together and tried to work out like a set and a couple of songs just with piano and guitar. And that was super interesting and actually so good for the songs and even good for the songs playing it with the band again, because you learn so much new stuff about the songs you played already for a couple of years when you just have to see how does it work without a rhythm section.
Yes.
What happens when you don't have drums? Is there actually drive in the song? And turns out a lot of songs work very good without drums and things.
Yeah.
And
no, that's true.
To let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
And to like really the ultimate test.
And I mean, also like I feel some of the like there's this one song "Youth" and we love it. We feel like it's a very strong song, but we sometimes don't feel like it gets like in the whole band thing. Like it doesn't get the attention that like we feel like it should get sometimes. But then when we play it just the two of us with just the acoustic guitar and the Rhodes. It really works, and I mean, yeah. So we have to work on that. No,
yeah, you guys should do a little stripped down.
So some songs we do also in the full band setup. We just play with the two of us, like gravel, which like on the record, it's like it's quite big sounding and like huge drums, and now we just play it vocals and synthesizer, which also really works. Do you need to check the cameras?
No, this is where it turned off and on again and just does its thing.
It has a mind of its own. Yeah.
You also did a video, I'm not sure when actually, but it was in a parking lot, like garage thing with the Casio thing. Was that a song written for that, or was that an arrangement for just keys and voice?
That was an arrangement. Like the song was coming out, I think, a week or two after. After that, so it was a good way to promote it through their channel, but it was a song on the album.
How did that come about, that video?
They contacted us. I don't really know why, but we were like, cool, yeah, sure. And we always like a little bit of a challenge, so they were like, but it has to be just the keyboard. We were like, we're not gonna talk about like some of these videos that like. So I just love the vibe and the feel of the.
Yeah, we had actually no idea what's gonna happen. Like we came there and like we thought maybe it's just gonna be like talking about all the options the keyboard has.
We're like
we were sitting around there and be like,
we've not worked on this keyboard ever. It's like we can't. We were saying like if that's what this is about, we can't do it. And then they were like, no, just play a song on it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
And we got to keep it, which was cool.
Oh, free gear. That's great.
So we added another key instrument to our collection.
Nice.
And then for that, was it like, how far ahead of time did you know what was happening? And they were like, okay, we're going to bring a crew and stuff, or was it very much like his kind of, it's a one-man team, we're going to take you to this parking garage and just...
We're going to take you to this parking garage and make you play.
They had quite a big crew, yeah.
7-8 people.
Very nice people. Wow. Yeah. They had a makeup artist with them.
Did you get your makeup done?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, amazing.
Of course. We got to sit on like a empty like bottle crate somewhere. Like it's obviously like going to like a parking garage, everything's sketchy. Yeah. Like everything, like no matter what they did, we were like, oh, what's going on?
It's like, really, is this really the Casio email?
Yeah.
But no, they were great. And I think it turned out quite nice.
Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah. Where was it?
In Wedding, I think, right?
Oh, okay. I was expecting it to be like outside of the city? Because it's got to be like a pretty empty.
No, it was there was like one moment where this guy with like this scooter just like went past and ruined a take. So I don't know. They I guess they picked a good time or something. Or like the top floor was blocked or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was empty.
And then were they recording on a lapel mic, or how did they record? Do you know?
They had a couple of mics, and then they took them away, and we had to meme again. I think
We did two takes musically,
Yeah, mime.
and then we could decide which take we thought was better, and then we picked one take, and then they played it back, and we had to.
That's what I was thinking, because I was looking at it.
That
The vocals sound really good, and I don't see a microphone.
They're quiet. I had the microphone in my mouth. Secretly.
No, but that like
Yeah.
those kind of non-traditional like spaces to record and make music, the sound is really interesting as well. Like in that crazy echoey
Just concrete block.
sound,
yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you guys ever think of experimenting with like unusual like Foley recordings or any like outside of the studio?
Yeah, I mean, for the last EP that's out on vinyl, we recorded the vocals in the open, so just outside
Oh, cool.
by a lake.
Fun.
It's the whole idea of the album was like it's called Youth because like I was kind of writing about like that feeling coming back to because we went back up north where I was born and raised, and so going back there and like writing and like bringing all my friends there, my band there, but like writing songs there, and I think it just like came very naturally to write about a time when I was a lot younger up there. And then we did the vocals, the final vocals we tried to do in Berlin, and it really didn't work for some reason. So when we went back up, we didn't have a good studio or anything to go into. So we were like, okay, what's better than to have no reflections?
Yeah. It was a quiet night.
Yeah, no walls.
Like no walls, super quiet night. Merely a few geese somewhere out on the water, like fucking around.
That's cool.
And it was good because like the laptop only had like maybe it was 5 tracks, and we calculated okay, it'll be like three tries. Like,
Enough battery.
Yeah, enough battery.
That's
for that.
even cooler. It's like a pressure point, like a point of
yeah.
pressure to make you perform better. Be like, we're gonna run out of battery.
Exactly. So it was like 3 takes each track, and then
That is really cool.
and we were really happy with what came out.
Nice. And speaking of going back home, how have family and friends responded to this project and your music?
Oh, they're super supportive.
Nice.
Like on all sides. Wenzel's mom and dad,
said
they
everything.
live in Berlin, so his mom's there a lot, his dad sometimes too. And
Your parents
even my parents come up to Berlin,
and it's a far drive.
Yeah, they surprise me every now and then, and it's lovely. I'm always like, hey. And obviously, no, like my parents are really supporting me and us with whatever they can do.
Amazing.
So yeah, we're quite fortunate.
Nice.
Yeah. How did you guys get in touch with the way that I found you was via a pop festival that you did recently? Did they reach out to you, or how did that happen?
The What's
Poppin' music or something? Yeah.
They reached out to us. A guy I know was part of the team.
Oh, okay, right.
Guy. Yeah. So he texted me. I was like, "Do you want to play?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you feel like you fall under the pop umbrella? Or because for me, I wasn't expecting to hear the music that I did when I found you.
No comment.
We're not going to comment.
No, we're saying this because we spoke about it earlier. We had an interview with them, and we called our music experimental pop music once because we felt like
I thought we were smart.
We were smart,
We thought.
and people always want you to label your stuff, and we thought we do experiment with sounds and all that, and then some of the tracks might be a little bit poppy, but like I think that's just in our perception rather than it's not actual like pop music, you know.
Yeah.
And then we had an interview with them, and they was like, "So what does pop mean to you?" And we were like,
So what does pop mean to you?
"I don't know."
When you have to say for a brief moment when we talked about like when we labeled our music as experimental pop, for a brief moment we thought that we invented this name experimental.
Yeah, no,
pop
not
music
at all.
for a very short time.
Yeah, and it's really not what our music
No.
sounds like. But we just kept it in the Instagram bio. It's
Yeah.
confuse people, maybe, I don't
It's
know.
also just like pop is a terrible genre name. It's like one of the R&B is pretty bad, and pop is just.
I don't think it's not bad even. It's just
It's just broad.
it's
Yeah, it
just
just doesn't
pop is
mean
like it's just
anything, really.
popular music.
Yeah.
So obviously it's nice to be popular.
Well, yeah,
Also-
not as in pop music's bad, but like
Yeah.
trying to use the word to define it, where it's like the kind of hip hop is pop because it's the most
Of
popular
course,
thing
It's
right now.
yeah.
But then it's not what I think of. I think of Ariana Grande, which is a different style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's also interesting all the variations. I mean, you see like hyper pop, but then a friend of mine is doing like chamber pop, she calls it.
What's
It's
that?
like it's kind of well, I'm going to say what she does, but it's like kind of band, I think 4 or 5 piece band, some strings and kind of like moody, but still and like a little folky, but still pop, like chamber pop. And I thought that was a really interesting. So it's like you can kind of put anything in front or behind the word and
Experimental.
like yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could be like pop experimental.
I think you can
You
just
can just switch it around.
like, I just love that people always want you to label what you're doing, and I think
Yeah.
it's just fun to like
Yeah.
give it like any label, and then you're like, well, deal with it. Maybe what we're doing is experimental pop or not. It's like, if, it's. I think it's just that.
Yeah, one of the recent guests, Corp, who I think you were maybe away for that interview.
I was. Yeah.
But they label themselves as, I think it's capitalist pop.
Capitalist
Or something
pop.
where it's just like super, super commercial.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that, but it's just like what they do for fun. It's kind of similar.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I would totally listen to it.
I'm
really-
very
it's really
intrigued.
great.
What's
Pretty
the name
cool.
again?
Corp.
Corp.
Corp
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Insta. They're cool. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
bummed to miss that episode, but yeah.
Socialist pop, also cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Maybe one day though, when like a musician asks what you'll do, like you're like, yeah, what kind of music do you make? You'll just be like, boop, 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 and then they'll know. You don't have to tell them.
send the MP3.
Just send the MP3 from.
That's
we'll
true.
see. Yeah. And those will be the days.
In
when,
like a year or so.
yeah, it seems like where everything's heading for sure.
You guys have done a series of. You've done 2 EPs. Yeah. Are you looking at doing an album, or do you like the EP format?
I mean, we're not. Let's see where this goes. Let's keep it a little in the dark. For there's a bunch of tracks coming, and no, I mean we can say it's like we're working on music just all the time.
Yeah.
So if it's enough to go on an album, I think it will be an album. If not, might just be an EP or
Yeah.
singles.
Yeah.
That's the darkness I'll give you.
For the EPs you've done so far, was it writing to a theme at all, or was it just like, let's make a bunch of stuff like you've done, and then, these kind of have a similar sound?
I guess if you produce music in a certain time frame, like we said,
Yeah.
like we took a week or 2 weeks for the second EP to like kind of get the fundamentals down to write it. I think it's just like you're in a very specific point in time, and then it'll all somehow connect to each other, because like you're connecting with the people that you're writing the music with in a certain way. There's stuff going on in all of your lives at that time, and then you're putting that out there, music. So I feel like that's the connection between the songs, and you can definitely hear that.
Yeah, sound-wise, like the first EP we recorded in a room. All the drums were recorded in one room. Second EP was a different room. So, like, just technically having the recordings all in one place for an EP, or mostly, almost all the recordings in one place. That's already making a little bit of a
Definitely, but
setting.
even now I feel it's more the time thing, because even now I think the songs that we're writing now, they all seem to be quite tied together because it's just where we're at right now. And we did record them in different studios and different places, and so.
But that's really cool because then you just know your sound is solid. Like your identity is doesn't matter where you get put, what place. Like I feel like that's the ultimate test. You know, no matter where you are, you're still producing in essence the same similar sound.
That's well put. Thank you.
How are you recording? Is it overdub, do one thing at a time, or are you doing a live and just like leave it, just do several takes? And
We started out doing like everybody individually. And we learned that that's not a good idea for a couple of reasons. And now what we're doing is doing drums and bass together.
Well, we'll have a demo first.
Well, we produced a demo. And then we're gonna do drums and bass together, playing over the demo.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do mostly overdubs.
Yeah.
On that.
And then some stuff from the demo might stay or something.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, like doing like having Oran and Abel play together, because they will already find like the groove and like where the song's going. They will already define it and what they do together, and also it makes comping so much easier.
Yes.
Because you can still like edit little like mistakes out or whatever, but just that. Like solid bass.
You just get lost when you do everybody individually. You just get lost groove wise, because
especially for some of the more funkier tracks. You really need the rhythm section to be together and like feeling instead of playing to a click or even playing to a demo. It's not the same. Yeah. So
that seems to work quite well. We're quite happy with the results.
Maybe we're gonna throw you in there as well.
In the
for you in the mix.
Let's see. Yeah, we'll probably just end up doing like. I mean, obviously, the more we play together, the tighter we get anyway. So
just slowly add one person.
That's the plan.
Cool. Well, we're coming up on 45 minutes. Yeah, it's probably a good place to end it. Do you guys have anything upcoming
else?
shows after the 19th?
Promotion.
Of course. Yeah. Do you want me to do the whole...
Have your spotlight.
Please do.
Well, so first of all, our new single, Nothing Hurts More, obviously is coming out on the 24th of May. We're really excited about that. And you can already pre-order it on our Instagram. And then we will have... we're supporting friends of ours on... June 15th, they're called Toys, and they'll be playing at Urban Spree.
Oh, nice.
And we'll be supporting them. And so we hope to see you all there. It's going to be... They're fantastic. They do a fantastic live show, and we will play too and give it all. So, no, it'll be a really fun evening. Just lots of... nice people come together.
Yeah, I'll be there. You might be gone already. I'm not sure.
No, 19th. So
cool.
Perfect.
So we'll be there.
There we go.
Great.
Yeah. Front row. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you very
Mink.
much.
Woohoo! Go check them out. And
everything's in the description. Go do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
And thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Cheers, guys.